36 years. It's quite something to consider that even though that isn't really that old, comparatively speaking, it is still quite a significant phase, a significant stage to be at. Especially when I think that in many ways, life is really just beginning for me right now. And so I wanted to put up this new video of me creating this piece that's called Sorcerer 2. And this piece as well is also something of a new landmark, you could say, because back in 2012, I actually created the first image in this new aesthetic style for the XELASOMA project, and that piece was also called The Sorcerer. It was the big yellow piece with the humanoid figure with all of that organic spread coming out of the back of his head. And that image really set a precedent in terms of the design language that the project was going to follow in. It wasn't the first image of the project, I have to emphasize that. I'd already been kind of experimenting and making images, not under the XELASOMA name. The original moniker of the project was operating under the title of Hidden Palace before it became XELASOMA. And so the Sorcerer was this new landmark because it possessed certain design elements, you could say, such as the things that I'm doing right here, where you can see I'm making these kind of ribbed or muscular patterns on the surface right here. That's actually a design value that's been there all along. If I ever show up any of my early, very, very early images, you'll be able to see this same style here. So it's quite cool, actually, because this is one of the design elements that's been there all the way from the beginning. But the Sorcerer, that changed everything, because for one, it was larger. It was an absolutely enormous piece, absurdly large, actually. It was 3 pieces of A1 card across. I think it's something like 70 inches across or something ridiculous like that. And I was also drawing it in the same style here, very small scale, well, very small detail, but on a very large scale. And it took me absolutely ages to complete, but I'm glad that it did it, because it cemented a new design aesthetic that I'd take into the project going forward. And considering that the XELASOMA project has really kind of established itself now in the open arena of art and ideas, so to speak, I thought that it would be appropriate to create a new Sorcerer and make a bit of an ongoing series of it. So every year I'd make a new one to represent a new landmark. And this new Sorcerer here is actually the most mixed media that I've ever done before. I mean, obviously I like these big, heavy, thick, black lines. But this is actually one of the most colourful ones that I've done, and the most mixed media ones that I've done. And look at all of this green. This is absolutely beautiful. I have done a kind of greenish piece before, though I've got a lot of affinity for the colour green. It's also my birthstone, which is an emerald. So I've got a lot of affection for the colour green. And so for this new Sorcerer, I definitely wanted to make the green aspect of it come out a lot. I don't usually go into art pieces with many choices like that, like conscientious decisions, like I want to do things this way or that way. It's usually very free form and very raw, though one thing that I definitely knew from the beginning is that I wanted this one to contain a lot of that green coloration. And here's another thing that I hardly ever do as well, which is painting. I have to admit, I don't like paint as a medium. I don't like using it, though I do really love the effect of watercolor. I think that it complements a very organic aesthetic very well, and so sometimes I'll get out the watercolor and actually do something with it. But as you can see here, my muscle memory is so bounded to using pens and inks that even when I use watercolor, I kind of use it like a pen. You know, I'm making all of these separated line details because that's just the way that my brain is kind of mapped onto to that medium. Nonetheless, it adds a bit of a contrast here, and as you'll see a bit later when we get a better shot of it, it really does complement a lot of the rest of the Sorcerer in terms of the black line work and the coloration that's going on there. Yeah, here you can see that's a nice big shot of it, so you can see the kind of humanoid face in the middle there. You can see the open heart, how his chest is open in the middle, and that's to represent that his heart is open, and you can see all of those eyes going down the middle to symbolize that he can see inside of himself on lots of different layers of resolution, as a sorcerer should, of course. And so here, just adding some differentiated elements of green and going over the eyes here, just making them look a bit more defined. I was going to use a pen on these, but I thought that, you know, since I was getting used to the watercolor, I might as well just use that on it. It's quite therapeutic, actually, watching these videos back. Oh yeah, this part with the forest here behind him, this kind of sprawling forest, that was actually a late stage decision in the creative process. I didn't plan that out at all, and that's forests and deep woods, usually there to symbolize the subconscious. As you can see here, we're going over that muscular structure in the middle with some of these incredible pens that I got. They're called chameleon pens. They're double-ended, but you can do all of these amazing gradient effects with them as well. And yes, they are very expensive. But they leave this very, very clean, flat look on it as well, which makes it almost look digital. And of course, I really like gold. So that's another contrasting part that we've actually put in here to go with the watercolor, the pen, and also the black ink as well. So yeah, this is the most mixed media that I've ever done, and I think I'm actually going to go forward in this new way with future pieces as well, and actually make them a lot more mixed media, because I really do like digital, but I prefer using traditional medium. I think that it looks a lot better in person, not necessarily on when it's cast over on a screen. I think it looks a lot better when you actually see it in person, and it blends well. It blends really well. You can see those organic forms have come out really, really nice. And up here in the sky, I've also added some pencil elements as well to just make the gradient look a bit better. Look at those deep colours as well. Really, really deep colours contrasting off each other. I absolutely love this new piece, and seeing it on screen doesn't really do it justice. I'm very happy with the way that it's turned out, and hey, this is a new benchmark going on into the future. So yeah, this has been the Sorcerer 2. Thanks very much for watching. Don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of my day today. I'm going out with my brother a bit later. He's taking me out for a meal, so that'll be great. And all I can really say is, yeah, thanks very much for watching, and as per usual, I'll see you again.